This program brought to you by CBUS, making hard work pay off. Master Builders Insurance Brokers, your industry specialists. Oh, what a feeling. Chat to Chatswood Toyota. Standards Australia, imagine a world without standards. Master Builders Apprenticeship Services, for all your apprenticeship needs. And Florence Magazine, constructing a new perspective.
What you're about to witness is some of the most spectacular homes that have been produced in this country in the last year.
So get comfy, grab the popcorn.
Oh, thank you.
And prepare to be dazzled.
First we thought of it as a beach house, now we just want to live here all the time.
I would do another house in a heartbeat, which is quite surprising.
You had the incorporated keg room and a beer tap. Great idea, though.
It's unique. There's nothing else like it.
All these master builder homes are vying for the coveted 2022 awards.
Discover their secrets, the challenges, and the jaw-dropping results.
Because it's one thing to design these homes, it's another thing to bring them to life.
And today we get to visit a house that's fully recycled. Another that blurs the line between inside and out. Plus, a self-contained flat that has been built to feel more like a holiday home. And see what it takes to bring a grand old dame back to her glory days.
Our first stop today is the bustling northern suburb of MCMs Point, where behind this typical Victorian terrace exterior lies something truly remarkable. CplusC are an award-winning team of builders and architects that pride themselves on crafting inventive and highly personalised homes that are environmentally aware. Their desire is not just to make sustainable housing, but to make choices that help restore the environment. Lofty ideals indeed, and they're all on display here at the ZZ Top House. This dual frontage Victorian terrace sits on a site that's both long and inward looking, and it's got zero outlook because of the warehouses that sit on either side. Leaving the original 4 bedrooms and 2.5 bathroom home intact, the challenge was to amplify the available natural light to the downstairs area and to give this house a sense of visual interest. And the effect is nothing short of mesmerising.
What an incredible house. Walking in, it's not what I expected. Tell me about the inspiration for this house.
Well, it's really quite an unusual site in that it's hemmed in by kind of commercial warehouses on one side. There's no real outlook to the site.
And what was the inspiration for the design?
Because it had no outlook and getting access to sunlight was quite difficult, we really wanted to kind of emphasise the complexity of the material palette that we've put in here, because it became the outlook, if you like. You know, we've got this really kind of long sequence of spaces, and we want to just, I guess, slow the occupants down in terms of attention to detail to, in a way, make them not feel like the house was so extended. I like to live outside. I like to feel the breeze. I like to kind of have a connection with landscape, and our clients seem to like that as well.
What they've created is spectacular. The new entrance utilises the leftover side passage of the property, funneling you through to a cathedral-like space and this incredible series of light boxes.
And how do these play out at night? How does that work?
Yeah, it's really, the skylight works obviously throughout the day to bring light in, and at night we've used, I guess, a cathedral-like detail to kind of light up the ceiling and light up the wall. It's the wall that defines the dining room space between the kind of old existing wall on the second story of the Victorian terrace and the boundary. It was a lot of work.
But it looks amazing.
It does.
The notion of a house called ZZ Top House, I came along, of course, thinking it was going to have beards and guitars. Tell me, what's the ZZ, the ZZ?
Look, you know, I don't want to kind of post-rationalise it. It was just having a bit of fun, really, to me. The name was really about the kind of the zigzag details we had through the house.
Mate, this is a neat detail here. What you got going on here? Your bricks up against the spotted gum.
Yeah, we've got the recycled dry pressed commons against a spotted gum Australian hardwood species flooring with a little brass insert detail. So you've got carpenters working with metal fabricators and bricklayers.
And it's difficult to get everything to meet. I'm not just talking about the people.
Yeah, because these bricks are very inconsistent. They're fired in a kiln and they come out dimensionally. They're all different, so you've got to kind of pick the bunch to make it work.
It's a nice effect, though, isn't it, watching it all go all the way through? And it brings in this idea of you blurring the lines between inside and out. And you've got this zigzag effect over on the benches as well.
This house is very internal looking, so it was really about highlighting the craft of all the people that worked on it. I guess interspersing that marble and jointing it in with recycled spotted gum really kind of highlighted some of the craftspeople who worked on the job.
Which one do they prefer to use for what, do you think?
The marble was mainly for pastries. The client loves making her pastries, whereas the timber is really for serving and preparation.
Yeah, fabulous. I like the warmth of the two together.
Up next, the sustainable features and technology that make this ZZ Top House super smart.
You've basically got 0 electricity bills for the rest of your life.
Every renovation has its challenges, and this build was no exception.
What sort of difficulties did you have from a building point of view for this site?
The commercial premises next door are a sound recording studio. So we just approached them and said, let us know when you're recording, and we'll try and work our heavy machinery around that. And that worked really well. They gave us a case of beer at the end of the day for looking after them.
The ZZ Top House has been built to make maximum use of natural ventilation, with 2 stories of louver windows that are controlled electronically. And that's not the only use of natural resources in this build.
Incredibly sustainable house. Tell me about the sustainable elements here.
You've got your active systems, like there is 10 kilowatts of solar and there's a Tesla battery and those sort of things, and all the timbers are from managed forests. But sustainable to me is a home, I guess a little bit like the late Victorian terrace, that's going to be here in 100 years, 150 years. That's first and foremost in terms of sustainability. Building things well, using materials that don't cost the earth, and making sure that this building's going to be here forever. Everything else is a plug-in and of benefit. And what in terms of, I guess, ROI, 10 kilowatts of solar, you've basically got 0 electricity bills for the rest of your life when you're putting in that amount, and that's kind of the average we're putting in these days. And they've got three fridges, they've got an AC upstairs in their living room, and they've got electric in-floor heating. So it's incredible that amount of solar is offsetting that amount of electricity use.
And that looks after itself in terms of cost pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Now, tell me about some of the materials that you've chosen that are going to last for that period of time.
We used some of the recycled materials we used were the brickwork, the dry pressed brick on the feature wall behind us. It is not cost effective to recycle them on site. We actually put them in a skip. They get taken to the brick recyclers, and then we buy in recycled dry pressed bricks.
Yes, yeah.
It costs 3 times as much if you sit there and try and chip away and clean them yourselves. But that goes off, and that'll go to another owner as well. We've got recycled bench tops. We've used concrete and FRP as the kind of floor surfaces, and Yeah, there's a hardware and longevity to those materials. Having been a builder for 20+ years, you see what works and what works in the first couple of years, particularly with timber decking, where clients don't keep the maintenance up. Yeah, it's disappointing to kind of come back and see them deteriorate. So we're changing the materials so that they can last for a full life cycle of the house.
The living area has a real inside-outside feel. And this is helped by full-length sliding doors that look out onto a deck area.
That opens up nicely, doesn't it?
Yeah, it gives a nice connection from inside to out.
This product here is amazing. Tell me about this.
Yeah, it's an industrial product, originally used on places like oil rigs and civil engineering projects. They started using it on public boardwalks and marinas. It's really cost-effective and really easy to install. And it's unlike decking, which requires a lot of maintenance. This is pretty much maintenance-free.
And in this space here, I'd imagine that they use this all year round.
This space is what it was all about. It's the fridge, the barbie, the sink, the heaters, the fans, you know, and being able to kind of enjoy Sydney's outdoors, you know, 9 months of the year, which we can do.
And you've used the same product again with the screening here, but it's on a different scale.
Yeah, the material comes in a range of different apertures and different colours. We've chosen the kind of near clear version of the FRP. That allows us to kind of backlight it with LED strip lighting. So at night, this space takes on a different complexion, and the FRP adds to that.
CplusC have thought of everything to make this not only a spectacular house, but a practical one too, including the latest technology.
So does this feed the cat?
Pretty much, yeah.
And it controls everything.
Well, this is really so they can control it, not just from here, but from their phones as well. Manage their energy consumption and, you know, control kind of different moods in terms of lighting, rather than kind of manually setting it up every time.
The clients love their new home. It's perfect for entertaining, and it seamlessly blends the inside and the out, which is perfect for the Sydney climate.
Up next, a house made from recycled materials that's off the grid.
Yeah, so a lot of the outside materials, the 300 by 200 hardwood timbers that we used, all the posts outside, they came from the Potts Point Navy base in Sydney.
From the bustling city to the far north of New South Wales. Where some innovative building is going on in the beautiful Byron Bay hinterland. Local Byron Bay builder Todd Knaus is an old hand at these Master Builders Awards. Let's see, his business has won awards in 2011, 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 16 and 2017. Enough to say he knows how to deliver quality. And his latest house is no exception. Todd was charged with creating a forever home using sustainable materials to be as off-grid as possible. Welcome to the barn. Now, Todd, you are the best in the building biz. I mean, almost an overachiever, a bit greedy with the awards, but I want to know, how does this project compare to all your other builds? Is this something that you absolutely love doing, this kind of thing?
This job was amazing because there was so much handcrafted parts here. So me and the team, we really got to work closely with both the architect, the clients, and also an interior designer.
But it's got so much character and it really feels like it's actually lived in. What did the owner come to you asking for?
Their brief was that they wanted to build a family home that was sustainable and also that they could live in forever.
We need to talk about this. This is one of the most spectacular features. I don't think I've ever been in a house with such a high roof. Was this kind of the first goal?
Initially, the house was designed as 2 stories all the way through. And then they realised the house was a bit large when they designed it like that. So we cut it back and then created this area as the void.
With this ceiling and those windows, you almost get a cathedral-type feeling. How hard was it to install those windows?
It was actually really difficult because those windows are very, very heavy. They're all manufactured out of stainless steel, just for durability and longevity. So we had to bring them in pieces and weld them on site and then glaze them on site because we wouldn't have been able to put them in otherwise.
There's obviously so much beautiful natural light that comes into this house, but there's also some incredible light fixtures and they're quite diverse. Talk me through that.
The light fittings were actually sourced. The owner would find something that they like and then we had to create the structure, how we hung it, put a fitting on it, and we had to dismantle lights, put new fittings in to make them comply and make them work with Australian power.
So tell me, what are some of your favourite features of this place?
All the recycled materials, because it was all so handcrafted. It's quite rustic, yet really refined. It's quite difficult to work with the recycled material, but make it look detailed and really nice.
What is handcrafted in this house?
All the ceiling trusses above us, all the structure above the kitchen, all the kitchen island. So on the island bench, the back side of that, they're Belgium chopping boards. So when we received them, they actually had the round mould cheese marks on them still. So we ended up cutting those and using them as the fronts for all the back of the island kitchen bench.
Whose idea was that?
It was the client's.
So cool.
Yeah.
Have you ever done a bench with the chopping boards before?
No, never.
And you haven't done one since?
No. So a lot of the outside materials, the 300 by 200 hardwood timbers that we used, all the posts outside, they came from the Point Navy base in Sydney.
When I was walking in, I also noticed there was a shed that looked exactly like the house.
Yeah, that's correct. After we'd finished the house, we had leftover cladding. So we ended up cladding the front facade of the shed in the same cladding as the house. Yeah.
And what about the pool?
The pool, yeah, it was interesting. They wanted an older style, so more of a kidney style shaped pool, but again, being a bit more natural. So we got some large stones and put them around the outside of it. There's one big jumping rock out there that the kids love.
Oh,
it's really, really deep, the pool actually, so they can jump off the rock and not hit the bottom.
This wood is stunning. Where's that from?
This, the wall linings here are from a local company, actually, from the Norco building in Lismore.
Oh, nice.
Whereas all this Oregon, the stair treads and all the timber and the flooring is from Walsh Bay.
And is this rendered?
Yes, it is.
Love it. It's got a bit of a Spanish feel to it.
Yes, it does. It just gives it a different texture as well from all the timber.
And we are in kids' paradise.
Yeah, this room's amazing.
There's even a balcony.
Yeah, it's amazing. This is the kids' little hideaway, little getaway upstairs. They can put a mattress upstairs, up the top there, and have a sleepover. This has got the recycled Oregon in the ceiling, which matches all the recycled Oregon downstairs and throughout the house and the floor and all the other beams around there. And then this other recycled timber here, that was actually offcuts we had from some of the external fascias.
Right.
We just recycled it inside here again.
Nothing's gone to waste.
No, definitely not. They've They've got 3 children. They want them to grow up here. They want them to enjoy it. So they didn't want to have a house that was so precious that the kids can't enjoy it.
There's surfboards when you first walk in, there's swings, there's a skate ramp, but I've heard that there's a trampoline.
Yeah.
I can't find it, so would you mind showing me where it is?
Sure.
Let's go have a jump.
Todd and his team have proved that you can make an absolutely stunning home using second-hand materials. Even the large veggie garden is bordered by recycled timbers and rock walls, using basalt rock dug up during construction. This sustainable house is also off the grid, with Todd's team having installed 25 kilowatts of solar and 30 kilowatts of batteries, a septic system and 2 110,000 litre water tanks dug into the ground and formed and poured all on site.
Now this is a quality outdoor cooking setup.
Yeah, this is amazing out here. This is above ground, and then below us is our 220,000 litres of water.
Where we're standing right now?
Yeah, 2 water tanks straight underneath us.
No way.
Yeah.
Speaking of water, this pond is so gorgeous.
Yeah, so this was, what happened was we put all the infrastructure in here, put the water tanks in, and then noticed that there was a constant little stream of water coming out of the ground. So dug out a pond and there we have it.
Put a diving board,
Yeah.
some really inviting water.
It's amazing.
You know what I've just spotted? The trampoline.
Oh, yeah.
I'm on here. The infamous trampoline. Wow, it's the... So what do you call this?
Yeah, in-ground trampoline, yeah.
Was it difficult?
It was a little bit, because we had to dig a big hole in the ground, then build a retaining wall inside it,
Right.
put some drainage under there, and then backfill and infill around it.
Have you had a jump?
Go for it.
Oh, don't mind if I do. This is quite fun. Oh, yeah. What? Oh!
Up next, the perfect place for a holiday, at home. I visit a self-contained flat that has been built to feel more like a holiday home than a granny flat. Tucked away in Sydney's northern beaches is a perfect little hideaway.
Construction company Built to Matter, or BTM, are a brother-sister design and construction team who concentrate on the Sydney North Shore and the Northern Beaches area. Their entry is in the Granny Flats category and shows just what you can achieve in a small, intimate space. Built above an existing garage, this 2-bedroom granny flat and the rumpus room below were built to match the current home so that it feels like it's been here since day one. We are lucky enough to have one of the judges for the Master Builders Housing Awards. Michael, thank you so much for popping past. Now, what category are you judging?
Well, I've been judging the what we call secondary dwellings, or in layman's terms, granny flats.
Thank you so much.
This year.
That relates to me a lot better. So what are we specifically looking for in a granny flat? What's the criteria?
I'm looking at the compatibility between the existing house and the new house. I'm looking at the amount of privacy that each dwelling is receiving as well. It's pretty important.
And when we look at this granny flat, what are some of the standouts to you?
Oh, the design of this granny flat is extraordinary, and the builder's attention to detail has been fantastic through the whole build.
The build included not only the granny flat, but a rumpus room downstairs, while making use of every bit of available space. And all of this turned around in a phenomenal time frame of 10 weeks.
Going to the granny flat, it's one of the best granny flats I've ever seen.
Yeah.
What are some of your highlights?
Whilst building the granny flat, basically, in order for us to construct, we had a scaffold that was completely wrapped around the perimeter. and working at heights of the second story. We closed it up, we got a lid on top quite quickly. I definitely think the connection of the front balcony into the living and kitchen area is one of my highlights. The way that the ceiling is pitched as well. We've got a rake ceiling with the lining boards. Become quite a nice feature. And basically we had the roof running into both sides of the balcony actually. So there's a sort of a combination of balustrade which wraps around and the tiled balcony. Considering it's copping all the weather, we've taken into account, the waterproofing systems, basically tucked up in behind the doors and done with a PVC membrane for flexibility. So, look, there's all the background stuff that goes into the build.
Everything's been thought about.
Yeah, we've done it tight, time frame. Some people say, oh, how'd you get it done in such a quick time? But amazing team and just got it done.
And 2 bedrooms, is that normal for a granny flat?
Yeah, look, I guess you can go one way or the other, but I think we made good use of the living kitchen space and having that balcony to allow for the 2 bedrooms. You can go 1 bedroom. We decided in this particular floor plan to do the 2.
No detail has been overlooked in this granny flat. From the vaulted ceiling creating a sense of space, to barn doors leading into the bathroom, and the generous island bench with full kitchen facilities.
Ron, this would have to be one of the most beautiful granny flats, if we can even call it that I've ever seen. I've stayed in granny flats and they did not look like this. What made you want to build a granny flat?
Well, it was really all about, helping the family and the kids as the grandchildren came along. And we wanted some extra accommodation to accommodate Leanne and I, my wife. So it was really an effort to kind of establish a bit of a family compound and then complement that with a nice granny flat apartment accommodation for the 2 of us while the kids were all back in the main home. So,
did you always intend for you guys to end up in the granny flat, or was it like, we'll just make some more space for the family and then you ended up here?
We always intended to come here, and I think a lot of credit to my wife, Leanne, from a styling, and she worked pretty closely with Joel and Rachel in terms of the finished product.
Are you so happy with the result?
Yeah, we're over the moon with the result. We couldn't have imagined that it could have turned out better, both in terms of the finished product and the relationship that we've been able to establish with both Joel and Rachel. It's not very often that these things end up in a friendship, and I think if there's any more building projects that we do, that will definitely be, they'll be at the head of the queue.
I have seen the granny flat.
Yeah.
I'm in the rumpus room.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen this sneaky laundry that's tucked away somewhere. So should we go check it out?
Let's go take a look.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Love that I'm leading the way, like I know the house better than you.
Yeah, that's all right. You can't miss it. Just here on your right, Liv, this is the laundry.
Oh, stunning.
Yeah, so set of bifold doors across the front because it's quite tight for space.
What a brilliant idea, though.
It is.
Indoor, outdoor laundry living.
Yeah.
And it's a small space, but because you've got this outdoor area, you feel like you just have so much room to use.
Yeah, it works a treat. Obviously with the ground floor laundry, easy access to the clothesline.
Yeah. I've actually got a load of washing in the car that I'd like to do, so I might go grab it.
Throughout this series, we're going to get unrivaled access to some of the contenders of the Master Builders Award. Each of them are spectacular in their own right, and these are just from the New South Wales division. But who are the Master Builders?
Well, Australia's first Master Builders Association was established in Sydney in 1873. It was to provide a unified voice for our building and construction industry, to offer advice, knowledge, education and apprenticeships for those in the trade. The association quickly grew to where it now has over 8,000 members, 8 regional offices and a dedicated training facility.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you? Welcome to Master Builders. How can I help you?
Well, I'm looking for a master builder.
OK, you would be after Brian then.
Brian it is. I'll go and check him out. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can anyone become a master builder?
No, look, there are membership requirements, and when you join the association, you have to go through a process of referee checking, licence checking, so you don't just walk in. There are some checks and they're undertaken seriously. And right back into the late 1800s, apprenticeships were always the way, the traditional way of getting new builders into the industry, and that's still the case today. So MBA pays a lot of attention to getting young Australians into apprenticeships, and that's our future workforce.
And what sort of steps are you taking to include more women in the industry?
Well, we're going off to girls' schools and telling the good stories about successful women in our industry, and that there are pathways from apprenticeships to degrees to holding very, very professional positions in our industry.
Tell me about the Florence magazine that you have.
So Florence magazine is now going into its third year, and it looks at stories about women in the construction industry. Not only the top level or the top echelon, it's all about women at every level in our industry. And it's interesting that small business in our industry and the building industry has the greatest number of small businesses than any other sector. They're all supported by women. Women are the backbone of small business, and Florence tells their story.
So with the building boom still going full steam in many ways, it's a good time for young people to get involved, isn't it?
Without question. The building industry is one of the industries that our labour force will not be replaced by artificial intelligence. So there is absolute opportunities for young ones to get in a trade and follow a pathway into a building profession. And that's what we want to tell people. It's an industry that is a good provider, that provides a whole host of opportunities for females and males, and it's an industry that won't readily be overtaken by technology.
Something we've noticed amongst master builder contenders this year, curves are in. From smooth concrete form portholes to flowing tiled walls and curved elliptical staircases that are spectacular and functional. These curved surfaces have the effect of softening what could otherwise be cold and harsh surroundings, and adds that element of surprise. Coming up next, Tim visits a magnificent restoration in one of Sydney's oldest suburbs.
Our next property is a grand old lady whose incredible restoration will mean she's around for centuries more.
TCM is a family-owned business run by its founder, Sean Taylor. Their projects include commercial fit-outs, high-end domestic projects, and in this case, heritage restoration. This iconic Birchgrove residence, Ravenscourt, is on the local heritage register. It took 5 years for the designs to be approved and 2.5 years to be completed. Andrew, how are you, buddy?
Hello, Tim.
Good to see you.
You too.
Now, you're my wonderful judge. How long have you been a Master Builders judge?
I've been judging for the last 3 years.
And how do you find it?
Oh, it's amazing. As a retired builder, it's a privilege to give back to the industry.
Well, good on you. Let's go and have a look at this place. It's pretty good, isn't it?
It is, it's special.
So this is in the restoration and renovation category. What are you looking out for?
What I'm looking for is how the builder has respected the existing fabric of the house and how the new work fits into what was existing. So as we can see, we've got beautiful Australian red cedar here, which is typical of a house of this era. And some of the pieces were missing originally when the builder started, and he's had to have these remilled, reshaped to bring the staircase back to its glory. It's important when we've got a heritage house, we do have to live in them. So having some modern structures works to the people's advantage.
It's hard really to see what's original and what's been restored, isn't it?
It is. As we can see, these corbels up here are new, and the mouldings as well. So the builder has gone to the trouble of having these brought back to their original design.
Ravenscourt is a great blend of the old and new. And nowhere exemplifies that more than the remodelling of the generous family kitchen. The period fireplaces were all dismantled before building began to preserve these heritage items. And these pieces are offset by a super wide leathered granite bench tops. The juxtaposition of old and new is so beautifully appointed, it feels seamless.
Well, let's have a look at some of the other original features, and we can't go past this, the sandstone. Are you impressed?
It's beautiful, isn't it? It's an original feature of the house, and but they've had to do a fair bit of work to get it back to what it was originally. They've had to repoint all the joints, and they've used a mortar which is sympathetic to the original colour, and it works well with the stone that's here now.
And these are the sort of things you're looking for?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Sean, what a great house. Tell me about how you ended up doing it.
We first met the designer, Jackie Hargroves, on a project we were working on over at French's Forest. I mentioned that, I'd done heritage work and renovations, and she said, oh, we've got a heritage project in Birchgrove if you're interested in having a look. So I said, yeah, most definitely. So when I first saw the building, I thought, oh my gosh, this thing is massive and it's in such a state of disrepair. But it was a good challenge to come to.
What was some of the more difficult things that you had to deal with?
We did a lot of replicating detail from photos and old black and white photos, so trying to blow them up and find where the detail was, how the balconies went back together. You just don't know what's there because it was built in the 1800s.
Converting a building from the 1800s into the modern day also posed its fair share of challenges, like when the owners decided to convert an upstairs room into an opulent bathroom.
The bathroom is incredible and looks amazing. I'm sure you've had a bath or two, have you?
No, I've restrained myself from that.
There must have been some issues.
Yeah, there was.
To deal with.
When we opened the floor up there, obviously we find the original joists, which are really odd size, but when you're going to stick a bath on top of something like that and a span that's this wide, you kind of, that's not really going to carry that weight. We reinforce those joists with some additional modern timbers to carry that weight.
And it wasn't just creating enough support to hold the weight of the new bathroom that was challenging, because it's situated above the newly renovated kitchen.
The ceiling in the room we're standing in was the original ceiling from back in the late 1800s.
Yeah, wow.
So this was all protected, wrapped, and then the new strengthening joists were put in upstairs, and the floor was relaid for the bath, and yeah.
Yeah, amazing.
So yeah, the propping and maintaining the detail was really good.
It's always the hidden things, isn't it?
It is, yes, yeah.
There's incredible heritage items everywhere. How did you match things like the fireplace to the benches?
So that was done in conjunction with the design team. As a whole, Wayne and Leanne and Jackie, the designer, all worked together to select their materials. The fireplaces were all dismantled before we did the demolition inside. So they were all dismantled and then sent away and restored, come back. But yeah, just selection of this leathered granite bench top just complements the fireplace marbles and things like that in here. And yeah, getting it into the building was interesting, but it's certainly a lovely piece of stone. Yeah,
it looks fabulous.
After the break, we continue our tour of this astonishing Birchgrove restoration, where there were more surprise discoveries to be made.
This program brought to you by CplusC, making hard work pay off. Master Builders Insurance Brokers, your industry specialists. Oh, what a feeling. Chat to Chatswood Toyota. Standards Australia. Imagine a world without standards. Master Builders Apprenticeship Services for all your apprenticeship needs. And Florence Magazine, constructing a new perspective.
To recreate the details of this building, a lot of care went into sourcing original materials from around Australia. Something that owners Wayne and Leanne were very involved in.
Wayne and Leanne at the time were very keen on travelling around the countryside, and they'd obviously put a lot of effort in before we even came on board. And so Wayne and Leanne both had ideas on where they were getting stuff, what was available. They'd found certain aspects on their travels, like the balustrade panels they'd found in some guy's backyard off in the back of nowhere. And some stuff we found in local restoration places around the Balmain area. And then some of the Australian cedar for the handrail upstairs, the balustrades, and some of the detail work that you see on the timber work around the place, Wayne sourced from a fellow up in Tamworth.
There's so much history in this site. You must have discovered things when you were building.
We were excavating the floor downstairs on the lower ground level, and one of the guys were jackhammering up the tiles, and all of a sudden the hammer went straight through the floor, and lo and behold, there's a well.
Yeah, wow.
So a 4-metre well dug into the sandstone bedrock. So that was capped.
No skeletons?
No skeletons, unfortunately, but my sister actually, on one of her demo runs working around the walls, found an old Christmas card from 1911, and we believe it's from one of the older residents of the house that had sent a Christmas card back from the war or something.
Built in 1860, Ravenscourt was just a small Georgian house at that time. It wasn't until Lucius O'Brien brought the house in 1890 and added the verandas and tower that the house took the form that it has today. Current owner Leanne is a passionate local who believes in preserving Balmain's heritage.
Well, I'm 4th generation Balmainian.
So what happens if you're only 2nd generation?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You know, you'll be accepted. It's a village.
Yeah.
So my uncle purchased the house in 1958. We came about and sort of took over the house and said, right, we've got to do something with the house and make sure that she's around for another 200 years at least. And this was our legacy, to do the right thing, and hopefully we've gotten there.
And how does the house now work for you?
It's a multi-generational house. That's how we designed it. We designed the house, we live on the 2 levels, it's 3 levels, and downstairs has got 2 independent, like apartment-style living, and it's sort of, the children live there, we live up here.
Are you crazy? You want to go with your kids here?
We actually get on well with the kids, and you know, we can be caregivers, and they'll be caregivers for us as we get older. So
that's the plan. You bring them back in, and then
yeah, they know the deal. It's that responsibility as well. But it's like, hey, we do. That's what a family's all about.
What's your favourite part of the house, Wayne?
I like the tower a lot. I think architecturally, that's outstanding, and the spiral staircase.
So this is the tower up here.
Yes.
But this is where you sit and do all your work.
Exactly.
There's not much paper here. You doing anything?
It really does the owners proud that they have done so much to preserve this home for future generations. And it says a lot of the builder Sean for concentrating on the details and giving this piece of history a new lease on life.
On our next episode of Master Build, I visit a house that feels like a boat.
So I check the tides to surf, you're checking it to build.
That's right.
Tim enters a toy room to die for.
And which one of the toys do you want to take home with you? A little Superman, little Doctor Who?
And a rural build that had to contend with some local vandals. Plus, a beach house made for entertaining.
So the owners obviously love to entertain, and they wanted a separate space to be able to do it. So the whole top floor is strictly entertaining.
This program was produced in conjunction with the Master Builders Association, proudly representing the building industry since 1873.